Emily Kemp, and this is my video book report on A Tale of Dark and Grimm. If you like fairy tales mixed with blood and gore, then this book is for you. This is not the kind of fairy tale that your little sister reads before bed. This is for kids much older. This book begins with the death of an old king and the introduction of a new king and his loyal servant Faithful Jonas at the castle of the kingdom of Grimm. Faithful Jonas had served many kings in the family before this one. Before the old king died, he gave Faithful Jonas a few orders. 1, to show the king all the land he was inheriting. 2, to show him all the riches he would receive. And 3, not to show the young king the room with the picture of the golden princess. For if he saw her, he would fall in love with her instantly, which would be bad because the princess was cursed and every man who tried to marry her had died. If the king didn't want his son to see the picture, why didn't he tell Faithful Jonas to burn it or something? Well, I guess that was in the story. Anyway, Faithful Jonas did as he was told, but as they were walking through the hall, the young king realized Jonas was showing him every room but one. The young king asked about the forbidden room, and then ordered Faithful Jonas to let him in the room. It happened just as the young king's father had said. So the young king sailed over to the princess's island, stole the golden princess, and took her back to his land to get married. On the voyage back to the kingdom of Grimm, Jonas overheard 3 ravens talking about what would happen to the king when his boat returned to the land. This is something interesting I learned. That the ravens and monarchs go way back. It's like a superstition in England that if the Tower of London ravens fly away, the crown will fall and England will fall with it. Anyway, first, if the king took his new stallion back to the castle, it would throw him and he would die. To prevent this, someone, Jonas, could kill the stallion, which he did. If the king survives, the couple would return to the castle. There, the princess would see a golden wedding dress, and when she touched the dress, she would be consumed by a ball of fire and die. To prevent the princess's death, someone, Jonas, could take the dress and throw it into the fire, which he did. Even if someone was able to protect the couple when they danced the first dance at the wedding, the princess would swoon and fall to the floor and die. To save her, someone, Jonas, would have to bite her lip and suck 3 drops of blood. Only the person overhearing the ravens, Jonas, could save the king and the princess, because if that person told anyone else, he would turn to stone. Faithful Jonas saved the king and queen, but the king got mad after he sucked the queen's blood and sentenced Jonas to death. Before Jonas was to be killed, he told the king what he did and turned to stone. The king and queen kept Jonas's statue in their bedroom to remind them of him each day. A while later, the queen gave birth to 2 twins, Hansel and Gretel. And the king and queen nearly forgot all about Jonas. One night, the king cried at the foot of Jonas's statue, and the statue talked to the king. It told the king that if he cut off his children's heads and wiped their bloods on the statue, Jonas would return to life. The king did as he was told, and Jonas came back to life. To thank the king for his sacrifice, Jonas put the children's heads back on their bodies, and they came back to life too. That night, Hansel and Gretel decided to run away to find better parents that wouldn't cut their heads off. Now everyone knows the story of Hansel and Gretel. Hansel and Gretel are one day walking through the woods looking for food when they see a gingerbread house. All of a sudden, they start eating the gingerbread house because they're starving. Then, an old lady comes out and takes them in the gingerbread house and says, "Do you want some food?" They are very excited, but she fattens them up so she can eat them. Then, she puts Gretel in a cage. And she asks Hansel to test the oven. But after that, Hansel shoves the old lady in the oven. And he goes to save Gretel. After that, they realize they need to go find somebody else. After almost being eaten by an old lady, they go off into an enchanted forest. There, they meet a talking tree that told them, "You can stay here, just don't take more than you need." Hansel and Gretel agreed and started to build shelter. But after a few days, Hansel will go out into the woods and bring back a dead animal. Gretel got very mad at him and reminded him not to take more than he needed. Hansel couldn't control himself and killed another animal the next day. This continued for 2 more days. But on the 3rd day, when Hansel went out, he was covered in fur and was shot by a bow and arrow by a duke. Later that night, Gretel got worried. She went to look for Hansel, but all she found was some bloody fur. She was devastated. She didn't think she could live by herself, so she went looking for new parents again. While Hansel was being shot by arrows, Gretel had wandered into a town, found an old widow to live with, met a warlock, and helped the townspeople kill the warlock by putting him in a cauldron of boiling oil and snakes. Meanwhile, the Duke returned to the castle with the hairy beast. As one of the huntsmen was skinning the beast, he realized that the beast was alive and it was a boy. The beast was Hansel. The rich man in the crowd said he would take care of Hansel, so Hansel went with him. Unfortunately, the man was a gambler, and he ended up gambling Hansel off to the devil. When is his kid's luck going to change? Hansel was told to be at the gates of hell in 3 days, and if he wasn't, the devil would come and find him. So that night, Hansel started on his journey to hell. Along the way, Hansel met faithful Jonas. Although Hansel didn't recognize him, Jonas accompanied Hansel on his journey to hell, and told Hansel he needed to pull 3 golden hairs from the devil's head to escape. When Hansel got to the gates of hell, he knocked on the door and demons let him in. Hansel refused to scream when the demons pushed him in the fire pit, so they took him to the devil's house for punishment. Hansel tricked the devil and took 3 of his golden hairs and ran out of hell. Hansel met up with Jonas, and they started back on their journey towards the kingdom of Grimm. On their journey, Jonas fell down and died. Not too long after Jonas died, Hansel met up with Gretel again. They were very happy to see each other, but they knew they had to go home. Gretel was a little bit scared, though. She heard someone in the pub say there was a dragon invading castle in town. Hansel decided they could fight the dragon, so off they went back to the castle. If you want to find out if Hansel and Gretel defeat the dragon, you will have to read the book for yourself. It happened just as the young king's father had said. So the young king sailed over to the princess's island, stole the little princess, and took her back to the... You guys, you can't laugh!